able to resume visits by all of us. In the meantime, we have to be satisfied with virtual presentations. Both Monica and I would love to be with you in Atlanta tonight, but obviously we cannot be. Before I turn it over to Monica for the presentation, let me also thank our sponsors. The sponsor for the Richard J. Wood Art Curator series is the Japan-U.S. Friendship Commission in Washington, D.C., which has a particular interest in promoting the cultural relationship between the United States and Japan. We're very grateful to them. And finally, the magic of these presentations is all the curators. And we are so grateful to the curators who participated in all of these presentations, including the 4 this year and Monica this evening. This is an opportunity for them to reach a new audience. It's also an opportunity for us to hear about a wonderful collection of art at one of America's most famous museums. Monica, tell us about bamboo.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. It is a great pleasure to join you tonight, and I would like to thank the organizers for the kind invitation. As Peter Kelly mentioned, it would have been lovely to join you in person, and I hope that I will be able to meet you in Atlanta soon. Today's program is about collecting decorative arts and especially the Abbey Bamboo Collection, which came to the Metropolitan Museum actually this year as gifts from Diane and Arthur Abbey. In 2017, we had a wonderful exhibition. At that time, the collection was promised gifts to the museum. And the exhibition attracted lots of visitors. It became a very popular show. To my very pleasant surprise, that was the first bamboo show in the history of the museum. So it was a little bit of an experiment. And as I'm going to mention the details, you will see that it was not only about bamboo, but the history of Japanese decorative arts and how we can juxtapose bamboo with paintings, ceramics, and other art forms. So let me start the slide presentation. I'm going to share my screen and start my talk. So as I mentioned, we hosted the bamboo exhibition from the Abbey collection in 2017 at the museum, and it was very well received. We had more than 400,000 visitors enjoying the show. It had a very nice review in the New York Times by Roberta Smith, which was a great honor. And the Abbey collection actually traveled to Japan. We had 3 exhibitions, one in Oita, one in Osaka, one in Tokyo, introducing the collection in Japan, which is sort of the Satogae Riten, when artworks from the West returning to Japan. They were very well received in Japan. And I'm very happy to talk to you about the Abbey collection today. I have to go back a little bit before talking about the bamboo collection, because actually the Abbey Bamboo Collection is not the first bamboo collection we received in the museum. The history of collecting Japanese decorative arts and textiles started at the Met when Edward C. Moore's collection entered the museum in 1891. Moore was a silverware designer working for Tiffany & Company. Consisting of approximately 800 works, Moore's holdings of Japanese art represent a wide array of works, including sword fittings and metal works, textile fragments, no robes, lacquerware, netsuke, inro, ceramics, also bamboo baskets. Actually, this collection of Japanese decorative arts was one of the first Japanese collections entering the collections of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The collection reflects what was available on the art market in New York from about the 1870s through Moore's death in 1891. He never traveled to Japan. Moore used his collection to draw inspiration for his Tiffany silver patterns. The vase on the left side of the screen looks like a bamboo vase, but it's actually made of metal, imitating bamboo. This type of trompe-l'oeil works were very popular at the World Expositions, and for Edward C. Moore, who was a silver designer, the mastery of the materials and the eye-catching design was really inspiring. Next to it, in the middle, is a hanging bamboo wall vase, which you can put in the tokonoma for flower compositions. It's in the shape of a gourd. Moore enjoyed natural forms. He was attracted to flowers, butterflies, or even dragonflies. You can see an inlaid vase on the right side of the screen with beautiful inlays of dragonflies and ivy leaves. Edward C. Moore not simply copied these design elements, but these were inspiration for his own design. As you can see, this beautiful silverware set has patterns including gourds and ivy leaves, which he obviously copied from the objects I showed you. There is also a dragonfly, butterfly incorporated in the composition. And that was his motivation to put together this wonderful collection that came to the Met at the end of the 19th century. When the collection entered the museum, it was displayed and showed to our audience. As you can see, this is an old photograph from our archives showing you how the Edward C. Moore collection was displayed on the wall. It's a bit hard to see, but those are no robes folded into a square shape. And in the background, there are metal works and netske and ceramics. And I would like to call your attention to a big bamboo basket, which you can see under the vitrine on the lower right side of the slide. It's a big, beautiful basket. And for several years, nobody displayed this artwork. It was in our storage. And when I came to the Met and started to talk about exploring the collection and exploring what we have in storage, I had to realize that this wonderful piece from the Moore collection is an important work by Hayakawa Shokosai I, who was actually the first bamboo artist who started to sign his compositions. During the Edo period, from the early 17th century through the mid-19th century, there were only very few artists who made ceramics and lacquers and bamboo who signed their works. Pieces made for the market were never signed, and in exceptional cases when a decorative artwork was created for the shogun family or for a special order, the artist signed either the work or the storage box the art came in. But typically bamboo baskets were not signed until Hayakawa Shokosai in the 1870s, 1880s started to put his signature on the bottom of the baskets. It was part of the agreement, the sort of concept of the decorative arts, because these were utensils, vessels that were created to be used, and they were not considered to be artworks. They were not even decorative arts. The term decorative arts was created in Japan in 1873 when Japanese works were sent over to Europe to the World Exposition in Vienna to be shown. So the idea of decorative arts is very new. And these flower baskets for ikebana or tea baskets, we are going to talk a little bit about tea soon, were considered to be tools and utensils, and they had no artistic value. Bamboo is very important in the history of Japanese culture. More than 600 species of bamboo and bamboo grass grow in Japan, including the Japanese timber or giant bamboo called madake in Japanese, which can reach 9 inches in diameter and an astounding 60 feet in height. Although defined as a subfamily of grasses, bamboo is characterized by its woody culm or stem and a root system that can form either thick, slowly spreading clusters or more aggressive runners. If you have bamboo in your garden, you know what I'm talking about. Bamboo is, of course, a delicacy in Japan, and because it's growing very fast, it became a very important symbol in Japanese art, representing spring and representing a political attitude I'm going to describe soon. Bamboo grows extensively almost every part of Japan. However, the qualities of the bamboo grown in each geographic region are different. Bamboo is present in nearly every aspect of traditional Japanese lifestyle, in the architecture, in the kitchen. They make Buddhist utensils of bamboo. And as you can see in these beautiful screens by Tosa Mitsunobu, bamboo is often represented in Japanese art. The bamboo can endure heavy weather, such as rain, or as you can see in the painting, snow, reflecting its reputation for being flexible but unbreakable. And because of this unbreakable quality, it was associated with loyalty and steadfastness and political loyalty as well in China, and became an important symbol of literati painting. Bamboo was represented not only in painting, but in decorative arts as well. This is a lacquer storage box for volumes of the Tale of the Bamboo Cutter, Taketori Monogatari, from the first half of the 18th century. It's made of lacquer. The background is shiny black lacquer, and the design is executed in sprinkled gold powder called makie in Japanese, in silver and gold. And the Tokugawa family, the Shogun family's crest, is represented on the lid. Also, the title of the volumes included in the box, the Taketori Monogatari, is executed in makie. The Tale of the Bamboo Cutter is a very well-known story in Japan. It tells about an old, impoverished bamboo cutter who is walking in the bamboo groves, and inside of a glowing bamboo stalk, he finds a small baby. He takes home the baby, and she grows into a beautiful princess called Kaguya Hime, or Shining Princess. She becomes a rare beauty and attracts many suitors, including the Emperor of Japan. And at the end of the story, it appears that she came from the moon and she is going to return to the moon. It's one of the ancient tales, very well known in Japan. And the story became represented in lacquer, in ceramic art, also in painting. And that gives you an idea how important bamboo is in the cultural history of Japan. The next work is a water jar for the tea ceremony, decorated with bamboo. It's a hirado ware made in the 18th century. It's cobalt under blue, and the gradation of the blue application is really beautiful against the white body of the porcelain. Obviously, if you think about the qualities of the design, it was inspired by Chinese ink paintings. And it's amazing how the ceramic artist was able to recreate the texture of ink on silk or paper. The exhibition I curated in the museum was organized broadly into 3 sections according to geographical areas of bamboo production: Kansai, with the center of Osaka and Kyoto; Kanto, with Tokyo in the center; and Kyushu, the southernmost island of Japan. Before jumping into the exhibition itself and describing you the collection and the masterworks, I would like to introduce Diane and Arthur Abbey, the collectors. Diane and Arthur live in New York. They just live across the museum, actually, on Fifth Avenue. They started collecting Japanese bamboo in the late 1990s, inspired by an exhibition they saw in New York. It took place at the Asia Society, and the collection and the exhibition featured Lloyd Kotzen's well-known bamboo collection. That was the first time when New Yorkers encountered bamboo baskets, and the abbeys were captured by the beauty of baskets and flower holders, flower containers, and started collecting bamboo. They traveled to Japan several times, visited artist studios, and they had dealers helping them to put together a significant collection. They have more than 200 bamboo baskets. And when the museum showed interest in organizing an exhibition, we worked together to further develop the collection. We acquired many works, especially for the show, to fill in gaps in the collection and to add more masterpieces to the Abbey collection. As you can see in their apartments, they live together with their collection. So they juxtapose European and American contemporary paintings, Calder sculptures, South American textiles with Japanese bamboo. They also have Art Deco glass, Art Deco furniture.
Hello, everyone. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Miss Monica, we are losing your audio for some reason. If you can see, we will try to mute and unmute you, and hopefully your audio will come right back on. But I apologize again, everyone, for the technical issues we're having right now. Hello, everyone. I apologize again for the technical difficulties. Monica is logging off and logging back on, so hopefully that will fix the issue that we're currently having. But what a wonderful talk on the history of Japanese decorative art and bamboo art. So please hold on just for a few more moments as we get Monica back online, and hopefully the audio issues will be fixed. But as we get Monica back on, feel free to ask questions for her about her work, the exhibits at the Met in New York, and the situation there, and kind of her history and her adventures in Japanese art through the Q&A button at the button below. You'll see a Q&A button, so you can just click on that button and ask all your questions. As we wait for Monica to get back online. But as we wait for Monica to get back on, I'm going to ask Mr. Peter Kelly, the president of the National Association, to come back on to tell us a little bit about some of the other programming happening through these Art Curator series. So Peter, do you want to kind of tell us a little bit about what's happening, what actually happened in the other cities as we wait for Monica to come back on?
Sure, Yoshi. It's this is first the motivation behind this series came from NAGIS Vice Chair Dick Wood, who had a very long and distinguished career in academics, was also the president of the Japan Society and the head of the Japan-U.S. Friendship Commission. And Dick's idea was, let's highlight the importance of all these collections of Japanese art in American museums, which are, it's very rare that there's so much Japanese art in all kinds of different American museums. So what we decided to do was focus on different collections and collectors. And as you see, Monica has not only mentioned the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which has a number of different collections of Japanese art, but also the collectors themselves. Why did they collect what they did, and how did it end up where it does? That's been the motivation behind all of these presentations. And if you look at at what we have covered this year, for example, the most recent presentation was about paintings in the Edo period, located at the Harvard Art Museums. And that presentation was by Rachel Saunders, who was the curator of that collection. And Rachel had just opened a wonderful exhibit at the Harvard Art Museums of the Feinberg collection. And she opened it in late February of this year. And it was only open for 2 weeks before suddenly no one could come and see it. So the presentation that she did for us, for the Japan American Society of Houston, and also she repeated it for the Japan Society in New York, was in many ways a relief for Rachel, because no one could come and see her exhibit itself in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Hopefully her exhibit will be extended a little bit. It would have closed, it was supposed to close in July, but since the museum is still not opened, they've decided to extend that a little bit. The second presentation was a very unique presentation about a collection of textiles at the Minneapolis Institute of Art in Minneapolis. And a lot of that was textiles, things that people normally wear. One of the elements of it was a raincoat made in Hokkaido entirely of fish skins. And apparently it works, but it was over 100 years old and they've been able to preserve it. The third presentation was around the Seattle Asian Art Museum, which started in the early 1920s in Seattle, but they've undergone an entire reorganization just this past year. And one of the things that they decided to do was when they reorganized it, was instead of having country-based exhibits, they decided to have them on themes. So one theme would cover in one theme, you could see art from all over Asia, from Iran all the way up to Korea. A unique approach, and Xiaojin Wu, the curator of Japanese art at the Asian Art Museum in Seattle, described how they decided to do that and what kind of themes they chose. As she said, it wasn't easy to decide what the themes were, and even if you decided what the themes were, it wasn't that easy to decide how to organize the art within that. The series is going to continue next year, and I've just been speaking to the curators who will participate. So here's a little heads up. The audience here today will be the first people who hear this. Not even Yoshi has heard it, but the curators that we have lined up are from the Boston Museum of Fine Arts, Sarah Thompson, who's going to discuss the Hokusai collection. The Hokusai is the famous woodblock print artists, among the most famous of the woodblock print artists, and she'll discuss the collection that they have at the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. We also have Dakin Hart, who will describe the Noguchi collection. The Noguchi Isamu is a very well-known Japanese-American artist, and there's a whole museum dedicated to him in Brooklyn called the Noguchi Museum, obviously. And his art ranged from sculpture to various forms of decorative arts. You probably have seen his famous chairs. And so Dakin Hart will talk about that. The third one is kind of near you folks. Rhiannon Paget will talk about a collection of modern Japanese prints at the Ringling Museum, which is in Sarasota, Florida. And that is and the final one is Frank Feltons, who will speak about the collection of Japanese paintings at the Freer Gallery, which is on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. So that should be a very interesting collection for 2021. And we hope that we always have more demand for these programs than we do supply. So we offer them to our member Japan America societies on a competitive basis. And when the winners are selected, then we tell the curators where they will go. The curators don't get a choice of where they're going to go. And all of them have been very cooperative and happy to participate, but also willing to go wherever we assign them to, and as Monica was this year as well. So that's a little bit of a review of this year's program, of this year's series, in the Richard J. Woodcock Curator Series, and also what's going to come next year. And we hope that we'll be able to continue the series for years to come. But we do recognize that it has already made a contribution with over 20 presentations in all sorts of different cities, and including all kinds of different art from different museums. Hopefully, Yoshi, that gives you a sense of and all of where we are with this program. And I do hope we'll be able to welcome Monica back.
Yes, we are still experiencing some technical issues, and Monica is trying to log back on. One good thing, I guess, with these online programming is that people can watch these exciting and fascinating talks on art and other topics about U.S.-Japan relations from the comfort of their home. But we do have, in some cases, some technical issues, so we do apologize.
Sure.
But as we wait for Monica to come back on, we would like to maybe show some of her work a little bit on the screen, and she does have a video as well too. So,
one other comment as you start, Yoshi. Monica began by describing the collection of a guy named Edward C. Moore, and he was one of these very early 19th century American collectors of Japanese art. So many of the presentations we've had in this series have been Americans who went to Japan in the 19th century, just interested in the Japanese culture, long before there were any commercial connections or investment, such as you have in Georgia. There were Americans who went over and got interested in Japanese art. And those are the basis for the collection in the Freer Gallery in Washington, D.C. They're also the basis of the collection of ukiyo-e at the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. and the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. So there was even in what the Japanese would call the Meiji era, there was a lot of interest by Americans in different kinds of Japanese art, and those collections are still held in American museums and still attract a lot of interest.
So yeah, as we wait for Monica, she should be logging back on momentarily, and hopefully her internet issues back in New York isn't causing too much trouble for her. But as Peter mentioned, here is the collector Edward Moore, but kind of looking at some of Monica's other things that she was showing. Here's some beautiful bamboo art centerpiece right there. And then the calligraphy here, 1676.
I did enjoy the picture of the abbeys, which is kind of at the top of the screen that Yoshi's just showing. And if you imagine what would a collector look like, a collector of Japanese art in New York, what would they look like and where would they live? That's a pretty good approximation. Living in a house with different forms of art left around, and you see the Japanese bamboo box on the table that's next to them.
That would be a one home that I would love to visit, the Abbey's home, right? And that would be a museum in itself.
I think so. I think so. But you might not want to touch you might not want to pick the box up.
That's right. Got to go in with white gloves, and I guess maybe make sure that you don't touch anything or breathe on anything too, right? So,
you'd be socially distancing yourself from the art.
Here are some more examples of works. Here is the Hayakawa Shokosai that Monica was talking about, a basket for transporting sencha or tea, for kind of tea ceremonies, circa 1877. Take a look at this piece right here. Also the Hayakawa Shokosai item, a hat made all out of bamboo. There's a flower basket from the same artist, 1918. It was fascinating to think that this whole entire collection was from one family, from the Abbeys, Diane and Arthur Abbey. So,
well, and Monica Beansick said the Abbeys were captivated by the art, and especially the bamboo art, and I can certainly see why.
It is interesting that the collection, she mentioned that the collection began in the 1990s. Many of the collections that we've shown in this series, the collectors date from the end of the 19th century through the middle of the 20th century. This collection and the Feinberg collection, the one that I mentioned that we had featured earlier this year, they are two collectors who are still alive and began collecting in the 1980s and 1990s. So there's still a lot of collecting going on, and there's still museum-worthy collections that are being built by American collectors.
here are some more items and some more collections from the Abbeys. And this is, you can see that this is part of the exhibit currently happening over at the Met in New York.
I wonder, Yoshi, can the film, or is it only Monica who can show that?
Yeah, she did share the short video about how the entire exhibit was put together. So that will be coming up shortly.
Okay.
Here's some more flower baskets. Just beautiful, beautiful pieces. And our chair, Mr. Al Hodge, has joined us as well. Al, I understand your home is sort of an art gallery as well, with someone you know very close and dear is an artist. So can you talk about maybe how art plays in your world?
Well, we certainly appreciate the opportunity to learn more about Japanese art. Cheryl Reiner Hodge is my wife, and she's an accomplished artist, primarily commissioned work. And she has painted several Japanese pieces over the years. She lived in Japan when she was a very little girl and therefore doesn't remember everything. However, her parents brought back some Japanese art and also was able to, they both were and are creative and artistic, and therefore some of our very special possessions are Japanese art and Japanese artifacts. We are, in fact, right now renovating our home and creating a new studio and gallery for her to display her art.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Al. And I understand that we're still having some issues with Monica, but I'm going to show the video that we have that she shared. I'm going to share my screen one more time and see if you all can see that. Peter and Al, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, hope
Yeah.
all of our audience members can see as well. So this is a short video that Monica would like to share about how the exhibit at the Met in New York, the bamboo art was created. So you'll see kind of the behind the scenes look of how art exhibits are created in large museums like in New York. So let's take a quick look.
Amazing they can do it so quickly.
Looks like we have some issues with the video as well. Let me see if we can turn it back on. There we go.
guess that's what you'd call a site-specific installation.
That is just one of a kind. I don't think you can recreate that anywhere. So certainly, we all encourage you all to visit the Met when it's safe to do so, and kind of see that in person, because I know that would be an adventure in itself, seeing that up and close, right? So
Yeah.
well, it's like we are still having issues with Monica. So this is what we're gonna do is we will have a separate session with Monica and record her presentation in its entirety, and show the video, of course, and have some more visuals, and certainly put in some unique kind of talk and insights about art and how it plays so much of an important role in U.S.-Japan relations with Monica later on, and we will send it to everyone tuning in right now. And so we do apologize again for the technical difficulties. Looks like we may have some internet issues in the New York area, and Monica lost connectivity. So we'll definitely be back in touch with everyone as soon as possible, and we'll showcase her work and her insights about art in the U.S.-Japan relations as soon as we can. So at this time, we'd like to turn it over to Mr. Al Hodge, the chair of the society, for some closing remarks.
Thank you, and we appreciate Monica's best efforts, and again, regret the technology issues. On the other hand, we were able to see some of what she already has shared with us, and that was extra special. Certainly the role of art in society writ large is so important for culture, for history, tradition, and obviously for wonderful creativity. We appreciate, of course, Peter Kelly and the National Association and the Japan-U.S. Friendship Commission for sponsoring and hosting. Peter Kelly, we had our board of directors meeting this afternoon, and thanked you during the board meeting for your ongoing support for the Japan-American Society of Georgia. And we know that that sentiment is shared throughout Georgia and throughout the nation. We certainly have had a momentous year with a new prime minister in Japan, and of course the presidential election in the United States. We truly have such great opportunities for culture, education, and of course business. The tremendous commerce opportunities. As recently as yesterday, we had another Japanese company announce an expansion in our state. We've had several of those this year and look forward to even more. We also are grateful that companies like Aflac and Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines, all headquartered in Georgia, have such great relationships and business opportunities. Naturally, YKK and great corporate citizens like them have been here for decades, and we greatly appreciate that. Well, we invite you all to take a look at the Japan-American Society of Georgia website, jasg.org, or of course the longer version of that written out, and look forward to seeing you again and to more programs for culture, business, education, sustainability, environmental, and other opportunities as we go forward. So with that in mind, we thank you all and look forward to seeing you again.